Alright, hello everybody, Resonance here, and today I'll be previewing Empires Apart, an upcoming medieval RTS game inspired by the classics like Age of Empires 2, but with many unique twists that make it its truly own unique experience. I've been following development and offering my thoughts since the early alpha, and the game has come such a long way, deep into the beta, and coming out on March 29th, 2018, so very soon, and I will be doing content for the game. So without further ado, let's start the stream and see some beta gameplay, starting with some casual gameplay between me and Gian Paolo, the co-founder of Empires Apart, and then some actual high-level gameplay during our Q&A segment at the end of the stream. So let's do this. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my headphones, so there's no echo. So in the meantime, you may introduce yourself. Welcome to the live stream, Gian Paolo. Let me know, everyone, if there's any sort of audio discrepancies or any weirdness. Then I'm gonna grab my headphones so you don't have to hear them twice. Unless you want to, then let me know.
I own the stream now. Hello, this is my kingdom now. Hello, I'm Gian Paolo. I'm the co-founder and creative director at DestinyBit. I am one of the developers on Empires Apart, which is a brand new, old school RTS coming at the end of this month for PC. It's gonna be on Steam. And very much inspired by Age of Empires 2, that's why I'm here. I've known Rez for a while now. I think it's at least a couple of years that I've known this guy. And we've been talking about this game for a minute, since this game was just a bunch of ugly units running around an empty map. And now we're here, very close to release. And across development, Rez has been very helpful in providing us with his opinions, his insight on RTSs, and we're trying to recapture the formula that you guys very much know and love, but at the same time expand it and bring it to a new age. That's cringy, but that conveys the message.
It's true though. Actually, that's actually perfect. We're keeping that one.
Okay.
I dig it. Oh, Ahervash, great to see you. It's gonna be tricky for me to, so we're gonna do a Q&A later. It'll be tricky for me to answer some questions during today's stream, but it is so great to see so many of you.
Okay, in the meantime, if I may, I would just like to give a shout out to all the familiar names in chat. I see a lot of familiar people from Mooly, Bandover, Adne, and a whole bunch of people, Game Video, a whole bunch of people that have followed development since the beginning, as well as some team members that see, like Shards, like Zami, that have. There's a lot of people in here that have followed development since the beginning and that have helped us shape the game into what it is today. This has been a community effort. We are a teeny tiny. I don't know if this was clear to the viewers that don't know the game, that tuned in earlier. This is a teeny tiny game made by a teeny tiny team. We're very much an independent game developer with very few members, and it's only thanks to the community that we've been able to get where we are today, and hopefully we'll be able to make this game even better after release with the help of the community.
So we're going to be playing this match on Visible. That way, it's a casual game just to showcase all the different units and civilizations and how beautiful the various maps and units look. So that's why we're playing on Visible, and we're about to start the game in just a moment. Yes. One final note is that this is actually not sponsored content. I'm just a huge fan of the game, and if you want to learn more about sponsored content, I highly recommend that you actually watch my most recent update video that I posted on March 13th, as I explained in great detail. But without further ado...
I guess this is my disclaimer. I am subscribed to Resonance 22 on Twitch. What? This is... Yes, I have to confess, this is my disclaimer, just to keep it ethical, and I think you guys should do the same thing, by the way.
Yes, as always, full disclaimer. Let's do this. Ready.
Let's go.
Or as the villagers would say, ready.
Not anymore. All right.
Alright, so let's pick a civilization. I will be playing as the Byzantines, of course.
And I'm going to be playing as Aztecs. just to show you a little bit of the contrast between two very different civilizations.
Would you mind telling me a little bit, just very briefly, about Great Meadows? So,
Great Meadows is actually a very unique map, unlike anything you've seen before if you come from Age of Empires 2. It actually came from an idea from our producer, actually, which is in chat even. His name is Shards. And he was wondering if we were going to have any sort of like actual basis where you could expand a la StarCraft 2, and I was saying no, like the maps are different. By the way, the maps are obviously procedurally generated, but you know how StarCraft has those like semi-circles of resources and Vespine, whatever, and basically this map is inspired by that. There are like semi-circles of trees with a little surprise in the middle, which comes in the form of either berries, gold, or stone. It's definitely a map with a lot of resources. Now, compared to Age of Empires 2, resources are spent much faster and last much less, which means that you will need to move faster around the map. It's definitely a kind of gameplay that tries to promote, how can I say, exploration and moving across the map. And so in this map, for example, you have a back forest, you have a back stone and back gold, but everything else you have to basically conquer in the front. And the map control is really important in this particular map.
interesting, interesting. Okay, cool. So, right off the bat, you all can see some of the architecture in this game, and I did actually have a couple questions that I wanted to ask you during this, and we will be doing a Q&A at the end of this, so don't worry about that. But I think the most obvious question on most people's minds who are watching this, and first off, thank you all for supporting the channel and also supporting awesome games like this, is what is, in your opinion, the biggest difference between this game and Age of Empires 2?
So I'm very glad to be here because I can talk to an audience that is very familiar with this kind of gameplay, at least. So what I always say is that if you come from Age of Empires 2, the first 5 minutes are going to feel very familiar to you. You're going to see wood, you're going to see berries, you're going to see deer, you're going to see gold, and you're like, okay, I know what's going on. I sort of like have an idea of what's going on. But then everything else that is built on top is new, and it's going to feel familiar but very, very different. So the first thing that immediately pops to mind is the fact that all the civilizations are 100% different. So if you show my architecture and you show your architecture, you can immediately see that the civilizations at least look different. But it's not only that they look different, it's that they play completely differently. So for example, you don't see a scout on my side, right? You don't see anything running around. Certainly you don't see cavalry because Aztecs didn't have any sort of cavalry. But in Age of Empires 2, for example, they start with an eagle scout. Over here, you just see villagers that are farming probably from sheep and a little bit of wood that I'm taking right now. But you don't see anything in forms of a scout, right? It's because my scout is invisible. And it's roaming around the map currently. Rez has no idea what it is. But my scout is a spy. It's a spy that can basically deal a lot of damage with its first attack. And after it attacks something, it becomes visible again. And it will become invisible again at the beginning of the night. So this is just a hint of the mechanics that this game has. That are completely new if you come from Age of Empires 2. One thing, for example, that your civilization has is a very unique use of infantry and cavalry. Where basically your infantry, also known as skutatos, will apply an effect when they hit a unit called Disrupt. And basically, the Byzantine cavalry deals double damage to disrupted units. So basically, you engage with the infantry and you come in with the cavalry later to deal maximum damage. While my infantry, which I'm about to start pumping out, because the Aztecs are a civilization that is very much focused on the early game. My warriors have the unique ability of being able to evolve through experience instead of through combat. So you know how in Age of Empires 2 you evolve your units through technology. Basically, you do a research, and your militiaman becomes a two-handed swordsman or a champion and whatnot. the Aztecs, specifically in this game, have a mechanic called experience. So right now I have 2 warriors. They are quite weak, but they are also quite cheap. And let's see if I can start harassing your workers, because I want to really show you a couple of cool things about the Aztecs. Also, another thing that it might be might not be self-evident from the very first minutes of gameplay that we're playing right here is that the game is much faster compared to Age of Empires 2. Not only the way that units move. Oh, hello, Scout. Not only the way that units move, but also how fast you progress and how fast you get technology, how fast you get your units. In general, the early game is very quick and goes fast, goes by very, very fast. Oh, I wasn't able to capture that.
You actually beat the villager. Wow.
So that flash that you saw was my unit evolving to the level 2. So right now you can zoom into my unit. Please don't kill it. Please don't kill it. Please
okay. All right. It's so tempting.
You can set it to no attack if you want. But you can see that you can zoom in and see the difference between my level 1, which is on the right, and my level 2, which is on the left.
Oh, that's so sick.
It's a slightly better unit. Right now it's in capture stance. It's a slightly better unit. And the only thing that I had to do in order to get that unit was to basically stay in combat, deal damage and get damage, and that's how the Aztecs evolve. Something that you guys can do is something that I cannot do, and vice versa. So every civilization is 100% unique. Now, granted, it's still a familiar environment considering that we're dealing with a medieval game. So we still have spearmen, we still have cavalry, we still have archers, or at least, comparable units.
Right.
But they're still very unique in the way they work. So my unique way of evolving my warriors, which can get up all the way up to eagle warriors and jaguar warriors, is something that is unique to the Aztecs.
Interesting. Would you mind if I took a stab literally at him?
Are you sure you wanted to? Oh no. Okay, buddy. All right. I hope you don't mind if I take a stab at your cavalry, though.
You wouldn't dare.
I'm just gonna say. So I'm gonna build a few more units, just to show some other units that the Aztecs have. You can open the tech tree from the top right of the screen, which is the button on the left of the minimap. And I think that's a great place to show really the diversity that is present among the different civilizations. Just to show you the contrast, I think I always do this, which is I show the Byzantine tech tree and then I show the Mongol tech tree, just to show how different the various civilizations are and how differently they really play. So I killed your scout, by the way. I don't know, while you were distracted.
It's okay. The idea is that you get a new veteran unit, but I can't have a unit at 1 HP lying around. I play RTS games. That's just
right.
That's against the rules.
Right. So one thing that I can do, I have a wounded unit. I'm gonna make a priest to heal it. But for example, another thing that is different in Empires Apart compared to, say, Age of Empires 2 is that every civilization has a different priest. And every priest does different things. So, for example, my priest can not only heal units, but can also cast curses. And curses are a... I don't want to say a spell.
You wouldn't do that to me, though, to be clear.
Maybe. Who knows? Curse. What a curse does is it reduces the armor of the units in an area. It also reduces the movement speed of the units of an area. So it's very cool, and it's very useful to catch, say, cavalry with the Aztec infantry. So okay, there's my priest healing.
Let's see. Oh, cool. Very, very cool. So let's see. To defeat your army, I would want to probably make. Well, see, this is cool. In this game, you can actually queue up technologies and then queue up following units. It's all these little quality of life changes that make a big difference. And I wanted to ask you a little bit as well, by the way, about some of the things that Empires Apart also has. You mentioned a bit about this, that would make Age of Empires 2 fans, like, it's a different experience, it's a unique one, but bears enough similarities that you would feel at home. And what are some of those things, in your opinion?
I think that if you come from Age of Empires 2 and you sit down and start playing the game, everything will feel familiar to you. There are 4 resources. There are similar archetypes when it comes to units. So we have the archers, we have the cavalry. The macro or / economy of the game is comparable. You use similar resources to do similar things. And then the differences are really sort of like built on top of that foundation. We have familiar game modes. We have Conquest. We have Assassination. We have Diplomacy as a game mode.
Ooh.
There's a lot of similar things, but a lot of quality of life improvements. Like, for example, we have farms, right? But on the top left of the screen, there's a button to enable auto farm reseeding. So right now you have one villager that is completely idle. You haven't reseeded your farm. If you task him to reseed and then enable that button, you just stop caring about farms and they will get reseeded automatically. For example, the button next to it, which is the open market menu, is currently disabled, I think, for you. If you are economy level 1, which I'm about to get to, and you build a market, you can actually access the market from anywhere on the map. You don't have to go to the market. You can buy and sell resources from anywhere you are. You just need to have a market.
That's pretty sick.
One question that we always get from Age of Empires players is, are there ages in the game? And the answer is sort of, because we don't have a concept of ages like Age of Empires 2 does, where you basically just move to the feudal age, to the castle age, etc., etc., for different reasons. Number one, it wasn't historically accurate for a lot of the civilizations, but also because we wanted to give the players more options and make the games more interesting. And so at the top of the screen, there is a system that is called civilization development. And you can increase your civilization development both economically or militarily. So that means that you can, say, increase your military development to basic military development and get access to archers, light cavalry, blacksmith, and so on. Or you could go with the basic economic development and get access to, say, the mill, get access to another town center, get access to a lot more stuff. So those are really 2 different ways of playing the game, and depending on the matchup, depending on your build order, depending on whatever you want, you can choose to go more on one side and more on the other side, and they go up to level 2, and you can get them all. So basically, you can get up to advanced military development and advanced economic development. And each one of them gives different things. So another thing that is different compared to Age of Empires 2, for example, is the fact that town centers are handled differently. It was very weird to a lot of players, the fact that there is sort of like this spike, which is also true in Age of Empires to an extent, where there is a spike in the pace of the game when you reach Castle Age. The game, it's sort of like you have like these feudal wars, which might not even happen in a lot of cases if both players say go for fast castle, and then you have like this spike that comes from the fact that now suddenly everybody has 2, 3 town centers, and in order to make that transition more smooth and make the macro of the game, make the game generally more smooth, we allow you to build a second town center in basic economic development. So basically, you go for a more economic build, but you also get an additional town center while sacrificing maybe on the military side. And if you get to advanced economic development, you can get 2 more town centers up to 4. So all of these are little differences. For example, another thing, there are relics on the map, right? You come from Age of Empires 2; those are familiar. Oh, those are relics. But relics work completely differently in Empires Apart. Oh, nice rolling, by the way, on your wood line. The way relics work in Empires Apart is that the more relics you have, the better the bonus that they give. So if you have 1 relic, you basically get +1 attack to all of your units. Actually, I'm gonna go get a relic right now.
Whoa.
If you get 2 relics, all of your range units get +1 range. If you get 3 relics, you get +1/+1 armor to all units. If you get 4 relics, you get gold per second. And if you get 5 relics, if you get them all, you get +3 damage to all units. So relics really become an interesting part of the gameplay, actually. In Age of Empires, often you just get them if they're convenient, but there's no real rush to get them, unless you're on specific maps or in specific situations.
Right.
In Empires Apart, they're really a part of the game, and there's really sort of like a meta game level of capturing relics, denying relics, and so on and so forth.
Interesting. I'm looking at all the buildings right now and whatnot. I've built a fortress to showcase this off.
Good job.
And I've been showcasing all the units. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I like that you made all the civilizations feel very different. And another thing that I think is worth pointing out about this game is that it reminds me a lot about Age of Mythology as well, which is one of my personal favorite RTS games. It bears a lot of similarities to that. And I think that if you're a fan of either game, that Empires Apart is probably a game that you will really enjoy. And it runs remarkably smoothly. I mean, the progress that you're seeing right here is so colossal compared to my last video. I bet you didn't even recognize the game. This is the same game. That's true. Now, one question, so there's another difference. There are a couple things going in over here. We have, heroes. We have day and night. These are things I actually kind of like, but I wanted to start with something that was a little more controversial, which is the art style to a degree. I have heard some people, tell me that they feel like they're not a big fan of the low poly art style. Now, in my personal honest opinion, I understand that, but I think that it's utilized very well. I think it looks better with the desert trees, for example, than it does with the normal trees. But I wanted to ask you, so what was the decision-making behind the graphical style?
Well, when it comes to the graphical style, we have a lot of people, really a lot of people that approach the game just because of the graphic style, because they like it so much. So there's definitely a lot of people out there that love it.
Yeah.
This was especially, we brought the game recently to the PC Gamer Weekender in London, and just a lot of people just stopped by and was like, "Oh, this game is gorgeous." I'm like, "Yeah," but it's not only a matter of style. Yes, we call it low poly, faceted low poly, which is stylized. It allows us to do very cool things, but it's not only just to make a game that looks pretty. There's also a lot of thought put into the fact that a game like this needs to be readable, first and foremost.
Yes.
We're making an RTS. We're making a grid-based RTS. We're making a game that is supposed to be played competitively, which means that recognizing units must be like that, must be super quick. You must be able to tell at a glance what a unit is. So if the game is super realistic, Crisis level of graphics, yeah, probably will look awesome in screenshots. I have no doubt. But good luck sorting out the spearmen from the scutatos or from the cavalrymen in a big battle. Good luck with that, because yeah, if you zoom in with the camera, everything is going to look nice. But from far away, I need to know what everything is, and so this style, for example, allows us to take a slightly different approach to the characters and exaggerate some of their features. So,
yes.
Like the Aztec warriors have humongously big maces that probably would have trouble lifting in real life, but they are like that because that allows us to see them from far away and see when they actually are whacking people and whatnot. Same thing with the Atlatls. If you look at my Atlatls, which are skirmisher-like units, but they evolved through experience and whatnot. You see that their Atlatls are huge, and that is all to. Oh, you have a ballista. I'm gonna just move away because that thing has a huge amount of range. That is all to increase the readability of the game and really make a game that is playable competitively. We're really very much focusing on the multiplayer aspect of things. So. If you enjoy playing Age of Empires online, not Age of Empires Online.
Although that was a good game near the end. It was, in my opinion.
I've been told so.
Just had a very rough start.
Yes, it left us too soon, but it's really it's really geared towards competitive play and also, like, playing normal games. We have a matchmaking system with ranked, so basically you're able to play ranked online, and you can go and find the match automatically. And we have a ranking system. We have leagues and divisions. And so it's we're trying to make it a modern game on that side. If you come from more recent games, you are used to stuff like leagues, stuff like a competent matchmaking that you just click and finds you an opponent.
Anything but a lobby simulator is what you're telling me.
Yeah, but there
are also still lobbies. Don't worry, everybody.
Yes,
we still have lobbies.
There are also lobbies. There's also a very cool spectator mode, if I can say that, which was very basically built with Resonance in mind. We're like, okay, what will Resonance cast, and how will a casting of this game look? And that's how we built it. So you can see the game from the point of view of the both players. You can see what they're producing. You can see their APM. All of that. So it's really a game. It's really meant to take that same formula and bring it to the modern age. And we've been very lucky to do that with the help of a lot of people, a lot of players, including some very familiar faces like Resonant himself, like Tato, that have been playing the game, have been giving us feedback, and have been telling us what they like about the game and what we should change. And we've been developing this game for the past 3 years. And actually, release is right around the corner, but we don't intend to stop. We really don't want to leave this game alone. We really want to keep improving it, keep adding.
Release is it. That's just it. Yeah, the game's done.
No, that's the beginning. That's the beginning nowadays. Oftentimes, it's really when the game. It's probably at its worst, actually. If you look at some games that even had very good releases. Like let's say Rainbow Six Siege, which was a good game on release, but now is 10 times better.
Do you mind if I interrupt you to talk about a couple quick topics? By the
Absolutely.
way?
Go ahead.
In the interest of fairness, because I know that we are on a timer, I want to talk about a couple things. One, I've got this objective. Okay, so there's a big problem these days with 3D RTS games where unit silhouettes are not recognizable. The game looks beautiful, but a game like AoE 2 is so timeless because of the 2D element allowing unit silhouettes to be so easily recognizable at a distance. Unless you're playing AoE 2 HD on a rather wide screen because you can't see literally anything. But discounting that, it's a fantastic improvement, and that's why I like the historical fantasy aspect of the game. In the interest of fairness, though, I have my own opinions on various civilization designs, which I give to Gian Paolo, so I do have my own criticisms. It's not like I'm the biggest Empires Apart fanboy in the world. However, I am
close.
I am very excited for the game. Yeah, my biggest thing is some of the civs might be a little too crazy. Like there's the Mongols that have some difficulty balancing their economy currently. But those are like just balance issues, things that can be solved over time. And what makes me interested in the game fundamentally is that these are things that just can simply be corrected, like, over time. They can just be improved. But the base formula, it feels to me like Gian Paolo just gets it. Like, he understands what makes classic 90s RTS compelling, and it's good to see it back again. A lot of people are like, oh god, another Age of Empires 2 clone. And please show me all these Age of Empires 2 clones. I haven't seen any of them. I would... please, send them all my way. Where
are they? Yeah.
Yeah, where are my AoE 2 clones? And this isn't even an AoE 2 clone. I consider it to be like a spiritual successor. Now, let me know, by the way, I actually like the hero units, for the record, just because of the way they're designed. They're not like Warcraft 3 heroes, even though I do think that would be pretty cool. I have my own biases towards that game. Warcraft 4, please. the heroes are very well designed in this game. There's also day and night cycle. There's a ton of differences. The day and night cycle, of course, encourages rushes. Also makes the game look kind of pretty. And really, like, I was surprised, because initially this game did... I mean, obviously, when you're doing a tech demo, it didn't look particularly, beautiful, but over time, low poly is a graphic style. It's like pixel art. It can be really bad, or it can be really good. And in this case, I was generally impressed with it. And this game has come a long way, as I've been here throughout the entire development cycle. I will miss the day when, by the way, let me know when we should have this battle. And then I'd like to ask you a fun question. Is it about?
Sure, I'm gonna lose horribly, but let's go, because I've been very bad.
Do you have your hero unit?
I don't. The reason why I don't is because in order to summon the Aztec hero, you have to take prisoners. So the prisoner mechanic is a mechanic unique to the Aztecs, where basically you can switch your warriors to a capture stance, and instead of killing the units of the enemy, you will capture them, and then you can garrison them in various temples and sacrifice them to the gods in order to obtain various things like heroes. So, yeah, that's very historically flavorful mechanic. Makes the Aztecs very unique.
That's metal as hell. Yeah, okay, so, alright, Pan Calvis has the one example. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, there you go. But even then, the game has an identical economy. Seriously, almost identical, but the military is vastly different, and I would know as I've played thousands of hours, at least 5,000 hours of that game, even competitively. So it is actually, unfortunately, not... It's close. It's close. Alright, are we ready to go?
Yeah, it's gonna go badly, but,
I'm
gonna
excited.
try my best. Oh, Lord.
I haven't played that much of the Byzantines because they're relatively new. So upon death of a veteran... Oh,
yeah, if you have a veteran... Oh, yeah, you have Ambiros.
One moment, everybody. If we could just... Oh, look at this. Little Craigasm.
Flavius Belisarius.
He's much better than he is in the AoE 2 campaign, I promise you.
Yes,
my.
And he also has a very cool active ability. Do you want to show... If you want to see how... I think one of the highest point in the craziness of this game, you can show the active ability of Flavius Belisarius, which is totally historically based. He won a lot of battles by deception, and one thing that he can do... he can create an army of warriors that totally look like real warriors, but they don't actually deal any damage.
Are you...
You can use them to engage me, and I can be like, oh no, those are warriors, and I can attack them, but they're actually not real, and they're not dealing any damage to my army, as you can see, and they will die after a while. But hey, I've been using them to gather experience, which has been great for me. Thank you.
That is awesome! Okay, Joan of Arc is my favorite hero power so far, but... Oh, come on, tell me that's not sick. Now, I have my fair criticisms with this game, from controls to balance, blah, 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 but they have improved dramatically, and I just did that to make it a fair battle. So, without further ado,
let's go.
Let's do this. What's the attack move command? Is it tab? What is it?
No, you can alt right click if you want, or yeah, you can rebind it. I think by default, I don't remember what the default is.
Oh, it's alt right click? That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, you can alt right click.
That's fine. That's
I think I'm gonna curse your warriors.
Well, why would you do that?
Sorry, your cavalry.
Oh, can I dodge that by like moving out of the? Oh, so does it encourage me to spread my army out? Is that how that works?
And you can also if you want, so you can kill your own cursed units. I lost my priest. I'm trying to use my spies, as you can see, to take down your siege weapons.
Yes,
in the back.
I see that.
But I horribly lost. The Byzantines obviously very strong in the late game, and I haven't spent a lot of time actually building up. But,
it's okay. Yeah. Neither have I. Both of us are much better players in this, but this is a purely casual match, and during the Q&A, we'll show you some actual high-level gameplay. But both of us are actually just better players than this. But this is just a casual game.
Oh, yes.
And I like this game a lot because... how do I sell my resources in the market again?
There's a button on the top left of the screen with the coins, and that just opens the market menu, and you can just buy and sell from there.
I'm just trying to figure out. So I'm clicking on my own resources.
I think you're right. I'm looking at your stream, but I'm obviously delayed. Right now, you have the diplomacy menu on the top left of the screen, right next to the idle villagers and the automatic receipt button, and next to the control
it's
groups.
The coins. Duh. See, and again, this game's also like, I don't know. I feel like it polishes a lot in the Age of Empires formula, and it's a game that's well welcomed. And for all the people that call it the another AoE 2 clone, please send me all the AoE 2 clones, because I have not seen. I like this game a lot because of a number of reasons. Obviously, it's not perfect. I will have my fair share of criticisms that I will share on my own time. But the point of today was to give you all a preview of some of the beta gameplay. Game's not out yet, so, it wouldn't be... so it's obviously not finished yet. Again, my concern is with various things like some of the crazy Civ designs, but those can be, like, really appealing for some people, and perhaps balance and whatnot and controls, but holy crap has that stuff come a long way. To be completely clear, I had a very different opinion on this game earlier on the alpha, but Gian Paolo, he delivers. And one small thing that I wanted to point out that I never had a chance to this entire game, I love the Aztec farms. That's a nice touch.
Yeah.
That's a really nice touch. Gian Paolo has, significantly addressed all of my criticisms with the game. So, while it might sound like I'm just praising the game, it's because he just fixes things. And that's probably going to be the most jarring thing for any Age of Empires 2 players, and I have to warn you well in advance that... Unfortunately, whenever a patch comes out, the game just gets better. And for me, that took a really long time to get used to, so I just have to give you all a huge disclaimer that I've been playing this game since, I think it's been 3 years, so since 2015, and every patch it's been getting better. Initially, I had a lot of problems with the game, but he kept fixing them. I don't know why. I don't know why he does that. He's a crazy man. He doesn't understand how game development works. You're supposed to add more bugs, not remove them, and add features that no one asked for.
It's very disrespectful for you to build houses in my base. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna drop that right there. But yeah, go on. I'm sorry.
But anyway, I think we can move on to the... I just realized I just need to build more houses. We can move on to the Q&A section if you want. For the record, Gian Paolo is actually a better player than me. I am practicing, and I am loving the Byzantines. But he is generally a better player than me. But this is just a casual game, and I love the way the Byzantines are designed in this game. I dig it. And I love the hero ability in this game, too. Ah, sick. Alright, shall we move on to the QA? Have you all seen...
Let's do that.
Alright, cool. Quickly before that, Ozymandias asked me specifically about micro potential. Yes, this game does have stutter stepping micro potential, but
I don't know about stutter stepping level of micro potential. I'm just gonna.
It's not like Marines and whatnot, but we'll let. Actually, let's start that with the first question while I transition all my screens.
Sure.
Let me make a brief note that we're swapping over to the QA section. As for YouTube, it's going to be so seamless, you're going to have no idea this was live at all. In fact, this isn't live at all. This is all pre-recorded, and this game isn't even real. Kidding, of course. So, let's see. This game is real, and it's coming out March 29th, 2018. Also, there's no Smash Bros. Game this year. What? Stop it, universe. Why is 2018 so kind to me? Jeez.
You can go and add the Empires Apart on your Steam wishlist to be notified when it comes out. It's right around the corner, and like I said, you can sign up for the beta and maybe get a chance to play it before it actually releases.
And on that note, I think it's the perfect time to transition into the Q&A segment of the stream where we'll be taking questions from the chat. What is that, /slow 15? All right, there we go. Just to keep things a little bit slower, and Gian Paolo and I will take questions from the chat. If you would like me to answer the question, then you may tag @Resonance22, and if you would like Gian Paolo to answer the question, then you may tag. Are you on your DestinyBit account?
I am on my DestinyBit account, yes.
All right, then you may tag @DestinyBit, which I will type in the chat in case anyone is unaware of how you spell it, even though it is spelled exactly like this, obviously.
There you go.
So yeah, we're here to take your questions, and I think the first question that we should take is that micro one from Ozymandias, comments about micro potential.
Yes, and I would really love to show the gameplay that we recorded. We recorded some gameplay this week with some of our best players.
I'm gonna get that on the screen real soon.
Yeah, courtesy of Mooly that casted them. So that also will show you the spectator mode. There is definitely micro potential in this game. There is more micro in this game than in Age of Empires 2. Obviously, for example, before you saw my priests casting curses. So, you know, that actually requires clicks and requires a little bit of micro. You can dodge projectiles. So, you know, you have another layer of micro there. But if you put, say, Age of Empires 2 on one end of a spectrum and StarCraft 2 on the other end of the same spectrum, we are in the middle-ish, more leaning towards Age of Empires 2. So it's not crazy amount of micro. It's not, you know, it's not on the levels of stutter stepping, crazy things that happen in Blink, stuff that happens in StarCraft 2.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's more on the level of most units have passive abilities. Some units have active abilities that you have to click. You can dodge projectiles, which actually looks pretty cool. So there's definitely some micro there. This game that we're watching right now, it was played by Adne and StickyFingaz, two very good players that are in the beta right now. And it depicts the Arabs against the Chinese, if I remember correctly. And it's definitely a very cool game. And so this will also show you how the game is actually played right now and what the meta is more or less, especially in the early game.
Oh, @DestinyBit, what is your opinion on Gian Paolo Vernoki? By Adne. By Adne. Nice.
I think he's a decent guy. I would give him like a 5 out of 7. Would be again.
So, Ragox asks, will we be able to create and play custom-made maps?
So all the maps are procedurally generated, like you see. We won't have a scenario editor at launch, but what we'd like to do as soon as possible, right after launch, is launch our modding tools. Basically, the same tools that we used to make the game, we would like to make available to everybody else. And the game was very much made with modding in mind. So you will be able to create your own maps, yes. You will be able to create, you know, new civilization, new units, new abilities, everything you really want, with the same degree of freedom that we had when making the game, hopefully. And that's what we'd like to do with the modding tools. The maps, also, the one thing about the procedural maps is that unlike most other RTSs where you basically script maps, you also script maps over here, but you have a degree of control that is very, very high. So you can make maps that are 100% deterministic, that are mirrored, that are whatever, and you can also have totally crazy procedural maps that are totally random and wild. So it's very powerful, and you can really do both.
All right. Well, that was a very solid answer. One moment, I have to just realize I don't actually have my chatbot on. Yeah, the heroes, by the way, George CC, are not handled like Warcraft 3 heroes. They're handled how I would expect heroes to be handled in a game like this, where they have, you know, they don't require intense micro, and they all have really interesting, unique abilities, and don't impact the game in a way that I feel like would be inappropriate for this type of genre. So the pacing in this game is quite nice. Hardstyle Strategists asks, what is the unit counter system like in large? Is it different from AoE, or is it more like a reskin?
It's I wouldn't say it's a reskin. It's
Because
that would probably be
a lot of games use that exact same counter system because it's
yeah.
intuitive.
Yeah, it is like the rock paper scissor kind of counter system. It's definitely there to an extent. You have your cavalry that supposedly counters ranged, that supposedly counters spearmen, that supposedly counter cavalry, and so on. But we definitely have some very wild units that sort of are like outside of that archetype. So, for example, in this game that is Chinese versus Arabs, the Arabs have naft throwers, which deal area of effect damage. The Chinese also have grenadiers. The Chinese have minefields. The Chinese have flamethrowers. So it gets to a point where where the civilizations are very, very different. But yeah, the sort of like core RTS. This hasn't really been invented by Age of Empires. This is really core to the genre. It's like the core rock paper system kind of style of countering is definitely there. I saw a question. I'm gonna answer a couple of questions that I saw very quickly.
Go for it. Go for it.
Why are the resources like trees not getting depleted? They actually are. If you take a look, if you pay attention, trees get basically disappear when they're done, and also mines change their appearance the more you mine them. So you can also tell at a glance what is the status of a mine that you're mining, and if it's about to run out or not. So that is definitely a thing.
Oh yeah, will the terrain have a tactical impact in this game?
It does not. There's no tactical impact from the terrain, neither from, say, snow or grass or any kind of terrain, nor does height of the terrain have an impact on the game. The reason why is because, realistically speaking, in Age of Empires 2, there's not a lot of micro. The micro that there is basically dodge that amazing Maginal shot that is coming at you, or try to get the hill advantage, the hill bonus.
I actually like that aspect of the game, in my personal opinion. I really like getting the hill advantage, but I would not want to overcomplicate it at all by making it like based off the actual height.
Right.
But that's a thing I actually really like about the game.
Right, but Empires Apart is a more complex game. You have units with passive abilities, you have active abilities. There's more to think about. So we didn't want to add that additional layer on top of that. And not only that, the fact that we have procedurally generated maps, and also the fact that we wanted to make this game very competitive, meant that, that was a very risky thing to add. Because if the hill is on your side and not on my side, then you have a problem in your hands. And so there's a lot of little hidden things here and there that we made in order to make this game more, say, digestible for competitive players. They're maybe not immediate to see, but there are there. For example, I'm going to give you a little example. In Age of Empires 2, in tournaments, you have the possibility of a restart, right? You have, I think, about a minute and a half to restart the game if you don't like the map. I feel like that won't be necessary in Empires Apart, and the reason why is because even though the maps are procedurally generated, we try to keep the start of the map, so basically the resources around your town center, very consistent, and also consistent across different maps. So even if this is the first time that you play the map, you have a vague idea of where everything is. You know that more or less your berries are on your right side. You know that more or less your main goal is on your front left side, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of little things that we added in order to make the game, basically to improve on the formula, that are scattered all across the game.
Now, a couple questions for me. Ozymandias asked, is there a water map / meta? And the answer is yes. And at least the last time I played it, I felt like there weren't enough ships, and that was my main complaint. But there are water maps, and there is a water map meta. I feel like that is an area that the game could be expanded upon, and in perhaps future updates or maybe even future DLC or something that would be expanded. I'm not sure if any new ships have been added since I last played it, but it is in the game. It is there. It works. but I felt like it could be expanded upon. And another thing is 0QAM10 asks, the more complicated the game, the less viewer-friendly it gets. Yeah, it can be less viewer-friendly, but that's where a caster like myself comes in, is to break down these complicated games in a way that's easy to understand. So if you like my style, then check all the playlists out below on my channel. My goal would be to break down Empires Apart in a way that's easy to understand. I do think, though, that Age of Empires 2 is an incredibly complicated game, but it is also quite viewer and new player friendly too, because the game is fun to play however you want. Like, it's actually fun to play badly, and that, I think, is an extremely important thing. Competitive AoE 2 and casual AoE 2 are both fun and very, very different. And what's complicated about AoE 2 is, using things like, oh, instead of just building your houses like a real city, what if you just abuse everything? And I think, that's what makes it super interesting to me, is that there are always new tricks that people come up with to optimize their play, so... Empires Apart, ultimately, I do think will be a fairly viewer-friendly game, thankfully, though. It looks like there's a couple of questions for you, and again, keep me posted about when we're going to cut this short.
Sure. Conmail asks, in your last dev update on Steam, it says you can't wait to kick off the competitive multiplayer scene. Could you elaborate on this? Well, to me, kicking off the competitive scene really means giving the game in the hands of players and see what happens. And that might seem weird to say, because it's like, aren't you supposed to organize tournaments and whatnot? And yeah, there might be a degree of that. But really, I think that players make the esports and not the way around. It's not that the game makes the esport, it's that the players make the esport. And so we will keep working with the community and working with the players to find out what is the best way to evolve Empires Apart into a more competitive friendly game, what we can provide to help tournament organizers, whether that be a tournament mode, a better spectator mode, or whatever really we would like to do, because that's really one of the main focuses of the game. Would you like to release DLC or complete expansion packs later for this game? Well, we would definitely like to support this game for the years to come. Definitely, we would like to add more civs via DLC, and we hope to add them, right after release. Start working on them and bring more civs to this game, because we're going to launch with 6 civilization, and each one of the civilization is 100% unique. And we want definitely to keep that trend going. And so whether we add, say, I don't know, the Vikings or the Japanese or the Britons, or really whatever you might think later, we want to make that civilization equally as unique and as interesting to play as any of the civilizations that are in the game right now. So, would there be gunpowder units / civs? Well, if you look on the screen right now, you see quite a bit of explosions. It's not really gunpowder in the AoE 2 sense of the term, where you have like Janissaries and whatnot, but there are definitely units that make other things go boom. Like the Arabs have the knife throwers, the Chinese have grenadiers, Chinese have flamethrowers, minefields, French have a bombard. So there's definitely a lot of things that go boom in this game, but no specific civ is focused on that. I guess the Chinese are the ones that are more focused on the weird and cool technologies.
Mistral Statistical asks, how available is unit information? Is there a list of unit speed everywhere? And that is a very good question. So, yeah, I'm answering Mistral Statistical question right now. Yes, how available is unit information? And I would say that it's more available than it is in Age of Empires 2, although that's not that hard to accomplish. And the tech trees are, like, in the game themselves, so you can compare them between the two to actually see the differences. Would you like to talk a little bit more about how much better your tooltips are? Because there's nothing in Empires Apart that says, your cataphracts now deal trample damage. And I was like, does that mean they get to deal any remaining damage? I get to assign it to my opponent's life points? No, that's actually not how it works, and it also means they don't deal damage when they run over enemy units either.
Well, one of the things that a lot of this game comes out of frustration from AoE 2, honestly. Like, I think AoE 2 is one of the best games ever made. I'm just gonna say it right now, but there's definitely a lot that is frustrating about that game. One of the things that was very frustrating to me about Age of Empires 2 is the amount of information that is just hidden that you just do not see. So you have to Google AoE 2 bonuses, counters, in order to find out how much is the bonus damage from camels to, say, cavalry. And that is just I don't know, I'm scratching my head over that. So one thing that we wanted to do is make as much information as possible transparent to the player. So there are extensive tooltips that tell you what is damage of the unit, what is the movement speed of the unit, armors and whatnot. But also we do have a attribute system where basically, let's say all of the mounted units have an actual attribute, an actual icon on the unit that says mounted. And all of the spearmen have an actual icon that says, for example, long weapon. And if you hover over that icon, it tells you, oh, deals plus 10 damage to mounted units. So you know that every time a mounted unit and a unit with long weapon are going to interact, the interaction is going to be consistent, no matter the civilization, no matter the situation. So keeping things consistent, keeping things as elegant as humanly possible were two big focuses in the design of the game. The villagers know Kung Fu, says Mr. All Statistical, and he's right. Chinese villagers, like, there are a lot of, like, hidden things in this game. A lot of the animations are unique when it comes to different civilizations.
I love the Chinese monks. I'm gonna come out right now on the record. I like the Chinese monks a lot.
The Chinese monk is one of the coolest priests. He knows Kung Fu. He can dodge incoming attacks. He can heal units around him in an area after concentrating for a while. Yeah, like I was saying, the Chinese villagers know Kung Fu. So yeah, they Kung Fu moves when they fight. So compared to the French ones who slap, which is just hilarious to me.
First you show me the decoy army, and then you tell me there's a slap?
Yes, French villagers slap. They actually have a slap animation and also like a back slap. So it's just, yeah, that's how they fight.
I want to go with a fun question, and this is for me. To you, because this is our beta stream, and the game is coming out very soon, March 29th, so I have to ask you, what were some of your favorite placeholder graphics or bizarre bugs during development? like funny ones, because I know a lot of my favorite personal placeholder graphics. Like, weren't the sheep villagers at a point?
Yes. that was one of the funniest ones. Sheeps were villagers for the longest time, so you would just go around and punch humans and get meat from them.
It was awesome.
I'm just gonna mention this in order to differentiate them, because at one point they look exactly like villagers. So at one point I was like, I just need them to make them a little bit more recognizable just for testing purposes. So I scaled them down to 50%. But now it was looking like you were punching children. I was like, no, let's not do that. No. And so yeah, you were just punching people and getting meat from them. But also, I think a lot of people here in the chat are sad because the watermelon bushes are sadly gone. At one point, our bushes were watermelon shaped. That was intentional, but that was probably not the best piece of graphics in the game, so that's why it was changed. So
yes, that and the farms have come a long way. There are gates and towers in the game. OQ AM10. Joshua wants to ask about how OP the Arabs assassins are in Regicide.
Oh, they are great.
Oh no.
The Arabs assassins are one of the most crazy units that are in the game. So the way they work is it's a unit that you build from the... I'm gonna open the encyclopedia on my game. The encyclopedia has a lot of extensive info on every civilization. So the assassins are built from the fortress of the Arabs. It costs 250 gold, and basically it cannot attack. Okay, it doesn't attack. It's invisible, so you cannot see it, and has an ability called Assassination. And when you activate said ability, the assassin becomes invincible, completely invulnerable. You can attack and he won't die for about 5 seconds. He gets a speed bonus, so basically starts running invincible. And whatever he touches, he will kill. And after killing the target, he will basically, you see sort of like a bubble popping up, and they basically deal a debuff to every unit around the target that was killed. Sort of like Assassin's Creed style, just kill the high-profile target and everybody's scared of it. So yeah, that was the inspiration. So that the debuff is not permanent; it's about 40 seconds. Right after that, by the way, the assassin is sort of like a sitting duck. So you're essentially trading a assassin for a hero, or assassin for something else. And they're really, really cool.
I will not be showing the Mongols today. For the record, AFK with your sis. Is there a Gaia attacking unit? Ask Ozymandias. Oh yeah, do we have miscellaneous predators?
Wolves,
yeah, predators.
If you're talking, okay, no. If you're talking wolves, I really don't like wolves. I'm really not a fan of them. Especially in Age of Empires 2, because I think they add a degree of randomness to the game that is not fun. It's the wrong kind of RNG, in my opinion. So there are no wolves, but there's definitely the boar. If you kick the boar, he will kick back because he doesn't like to be kicked. And also like a lot of small things that this game has. Your town center can kill the boar and it will still drop meat. You know, whatever kills the boar will drop meat. You know, little things like that.
Now I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a moment and say that, personally, I actually like the wolves and various predator units in Age of Empires 2, and I always felt like that was an area that could have been experimented upon and built further on. The reason that's in the game, I believe from a design perspective, is to disincentivize super degenerate rushes with certain units, and I think it's designed really well. It's just the maps themselves. The base maps weren't balanced completely perfectly, so the wolf RNG spawns were a little unfortunate, but I felt like they always allowed for very creative strategies, like in, Break the Meta episode 25, I showcased that, and those like Break the Meta episode 24, and I like that it disincentivizes like really greedy early game rushes and cheeses, but I do understand why you did that, but I just wanted to offer my perspective.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that, and there's definitely, I think, some cool streaming moments that are like, oh my god, look at them, but it's, in general, I think they won't fly in a modern game. I think their randomness, because, you know, they're also tied to the fact that the maps are generated randomly, and so if you get a bad wolf spawn, then it's potential trouble.
Oh yeah, well, it's usually a bad several.
Right.
If you're the RNG king, that's why I've got the res rigged, and one of the many reasons why I do.
Are there some really strong artillery units in this game? Well, a lot of the civs have a trebuchet. Not every civ has a trebuchet. There is the French have a bombard. There's mangonels. There's some stuff. It's not an artillery heavy game. We try to keep it as medieval as possible, and it's more light on the siege side of things, but there's still a lot of very cool stuff.
Yeah, so you cannot walk underneath the town center in this game, Bob Sacamano. It's like in Star Wars Galactic Backgrounds, Age of Mythology. It's a solid building, but you can still garrison inside it. Which, personally, I'm fine with, as I think it's more intuitive for newer players, rather than, you know, just having them move the sheep underneath the TC. I think it's okay, I'm fine either way, and it causes some interesting bugs with scenario editors and modding.
Yes, I cannot wait to see some crazy modding happen.
So, alright, how are we doing on questions?
I think I want to stay around at least until the game is over. Just to ask, any specific reason why the players in game aren't using Siege at the moment? I'm just gonna guess. I think it's there's a lot of undiscovered things in the current meta. I think that the mangonels are very strong. Adne is not using them because he's focusing on the... Well, there's a lot of explosion even though there's no siege because the NAF throwers are just going crazy right now. I think they are relying more on that build and keeping that build going. Chinese have a very interesting way of doing siege because they have engineers, and engineers can just run around, build things, and also transform into siege weapons. Let's say more similar to the engineers in Stronghold, but that is unique to the Chinese. But yeah, like it might also be a matter of matchup, a matter of different things, because matchups are really different and diverse in this game compared to AoE 2, where a lot of the game feels autopilot a lot of times.
Well, the way I see it, everyone, is that this is the beginning, and that Empires Apart is coming out on March 29th. But you know, as far as adding anti-building unit like the Tarkans, for example, is not off the table in a future update. You never know, but it just comes out on March 29th. Gian Paolo has no intention of ending development immediately. He would like to continue developing the game.
Absolutely. To me, like I said, that is the beginning. So if you jump on the game on March 29 and you're like, yeah, but I wanted this thing to be slightly different. Might still happen, might still come, more options might come. You know, we have a backlog of features that we want to add to the game, and we hope that it's going to happen, because I personally believe that a game nowadays, especially a game like this, especially a game that is very much oriented towards competitive and towards the community, has to be a live product. It cannot just, you know, release a patch every 6 months. It really needs to be a live product, and it really needs to be a game that keeps evolving, keeps responding to what people want, and keeps adding cool things. Small things, big things, you know, all of that.
Alright, well, we did end up coming up at the actual end of that replay, so I suppose now is a good time to start wrapping things up. The modding side, Ragox, they're obviously still working on. That's going to be a big project, but I'm really glad that Gian Paolo is really interested in that. Megadoomer asks about the AI difficulty. I can vouch that it's improved vastly since release. I don't mind if it cheats for extra resources on the hardest difficulty as long as it's not excessive, but it appears to be based more on smart decisions. Did you have a brief comment on the AI?
The AI tries to... First of all, the AI doesn't cheat and tries to behave like a player.
Oh, it doesn't cheat in any difficulty?
No, never. We might add the possibility of playing against the cheating AI, but so far it doesn't.
Maybe one that cheats for just a little bit for the, I suppose, the crazy good people of the world.
Right. So
but
far
only just a little bit.
Right. So far it tries to behave like a regular player and tries to play to the strength of every civilization. So it doesn't have one build. It tries to build what makes sense for the civ that is playing currently. So there you go. Adne just posted in chat the matches that we are seeing right now. If anybody wants to watch them and dissect them, I guess, and see what's what and how cool the spectator mode is, because it's really a cool feature in my opinion. I think the team did a great job there.
Basically, this game feels, you know, pretty feature complete to me. It obviously is missing a couple things at the moment, but I think that Gian Paolo has his priorities generally in the right area. And again, the most jarring thing about this game is that it keeps improving with every patch. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this game goes in the future, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with each and every one of you. So if you enjoy my commentary style, and you're interested in Empires Apart, seeing where it goes, what it looks like, what the civs are all about, then definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel, check out my various social media pages, as I will be covering the game in great detail. And I appreciate you all for watching and showing your support as always. If you like my style as well, you might as well follow me on Twitch for whenever I'm streaming AoE 2 and other games. Is there anything else that you would like to end this off on?
I would just want to say the beta signups are still open. Shards has posted the link in chat, and the other thing that you should totally do is wishlist this game on Steam to be notified when it comes out. It's right around the corner, but we're still improving the game. We're still making it better. And also, if you're not following Resonance 22, what are you doing? Hit that follow button. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. He's a great dude. He does great content, and I hope to see him stream some very cool Empires Apart games in the near future.
Oh, thank you so much, Gian Paolo, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me today for this stream and help set up all of this. This was a really difficult stream to set up all these crazy overlays for, but I just barely managed to do it in time. Very happy with how this turned out, and I'd love to see each and every one of you in the future. So if you're a fan of Empires Apart and whatnot in my style, please do check out my YouTube channel and my other pages that I have linked for you. Really appreciate it, and this will not be the last Empires Apart video, rest assured. And it was a wonderful, wonderful time hosting you today.
Thank you. It was a wonderful time to be here, and it's great to be back on the Resonance stream, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Yes. Take care, Gian Paolo, and thank you everyone for watching. Again, you can find everything you need and more on my YouTube channel. And if you missed this stream, then don't worry. I'm going to work on editing it down, polishing it up, and posting it on YouTube later this week. And if you'd like to support me, again, I got all my miscellaneous social pages here. And I also have Patreon as well, which helps support all the time that I spend editing. Thank you all again for your support. Empires Apart is a game that I'm certainly looking forward to. And I hope you have an awesome day, Gian Paolo. Best of luck with all the work. I know game development is absolutely crazy, so everyone,
yes,
send him your energy.
There's a sleepless night ahead of me, so thank you, I need it.
Everyone, use the time for the Twitch emotes. I'm turning the slow mode off. This is the perfect, this is the perfect way to end the stream. Everyone, give DestinyBit your energy.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, fellas.
Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon, man. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Ah, so sweet to see everyone in the chat doing that. Again, I appreciate having each and every one of you, and I hope that I gained a bunch of new followers today, both on YouTube and on Twitch. So, yeah, your feedback as always is appreciated. I read all your comments, and I'd love to see all of you in the future. I look forward to, hopefully someday, learning Empires Apart and maybe even casting some tournaments. Lots in store in the future, and make sure to add it to your wish list. And also to watch my most recent update video. As always, appreciate the support, and I'll see you all next time. What a wonderful stream. And a quick thing you can do to support the channel is to make sure to not use ad blocker and watch my ads for up to 30 seconds.